Here, let's record this, Let's biatch. Oh, sorry. Swearing. Oh no, sorry. I'm horrible. Okay, good. Ashley's probably like, Catherine's no longer allowed on team calls when the kids are in the room. No. I was gonna say, where was I going? What did I just say? What was I saying?
About switching people over to your synergy group, right?
No. I don't even remember what I was about to say. It was important. Okay. By the end, next week, I'm doing a new coach basics group. So for anybody on your team or anyone that's watching the recording now, Pam or Darla, whoever, I know Brianne has 4 or 5 coaches that were, if they sign up this month, the end of this month, I'm doing another 30-day new coach basics training. So we can add everyone into one group if we want, and kind of run it together if we would like. That way we're not all doing extra work. We might as well all share some of the work for, 30 days. That way, if we each only have one coach on there, we don't have a special group for one person, that way there's a group of new coaches that they can all get to know each other, a little more community if you want.
Gotcha.
So that's what I was saying. I don't know where my mind went. We just finished Max 30, so I'm a little shaky and I'm a little exhausted. And I feel like I'm going to die, really.
Well, don't die on the video.
No, and no, not when it's being recorded either. So
that means that
sucks so bad. You know how bad that workout sucks. It's awful.
Which one do you hate the most?
I hate them all. They all suck ass. I mean, they want you to die. They want you to die in that workout. I mean, that's the goal, is for you to die. And they just want you to, they want to see how many people are stupid enough to keep doing this DVD till they die. And so that was it. And so I did it. I did Insanity. I did it. I just said, God almighty, Jesus, I can't do it anymore. So I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from, but it came out.
Danny and I generally, after a Max 30 workout, feel nauseous. We feel like we're going to vomit. I mean, it just, like, we don't eat dinner, like, even though we do it around 6 p.m. after we're both at the end of work, we're like, nope, not hungry now, because I feel like I'm going to die. Like, so there's no point. So, yeah, it's pretty intense. But I did do in our challenge group a video of just the warm-up, which, believe it or not, Valency, that actually was more like the more low-key of all the work. So, Andy, do you remember Tabata Strength? That warm-up is a little bit, it's not as intense as like the cardio warm-up. And so, like, I filmed that today in our challenge group, but of course that was like the low-key one. That's not going to like shock anybody, Cardio is brutal. And we're in our 4th week. Today's Tuesday. This is our 4th week in Max 30. Yeah. And the push-ups, so many push-ups, V push-ups, where you're holding your hands like this and then you're like in like those are awful. Just terrible. Okay. So something that Valency wanted to talk about, sorry, let me get back on point, was about, improving your ability to help people discover their real why and not just a surface why, not just I want to lose like weight and like look nice, really find their why in their business and their why, for just even customers, I'm assuming, right, Valency? Mostly with your customers for now. Oh, poo. Drawbacks to not living alone, going into a different room. So, that is something that I wanted to talk about today, and also see what has helped with others. What has helped when I do a call with someone, a potential customer, I usually ask them if they have a health or a fitness goal in particular. I usually like to ask them, how is it going to feel for you if you reach that goal? How is it going to feel to be able to, for Dora, for example, how is that going to feel to reach whatever her first goal is? I'm sure she has many. How's it going to feel to be out of pain with your knees? How is it going to feel and make her talk about those emotions, how she's planning on feeling, how that's going to benefit her. Say, well, how would being out of that knee pain, how is that gonna help you? And little stuff like that, I feel like really gets people talking. It gets them talking about how, to me, it kind of brings out a little more emotion when you say, well, how is that going to feel? That's something that Scotty Hobbs has recommended in one of his team calls. He asks his coaches, or potential coaches or someone signing up for a challenge pack. He says, well, what are your goals? Let's talk about them. And how is that going to make you feel to reach those goals? And I feel like that's a really good start, So Andy, what about you? What do you do with your challengers and coaches?
All right. So a lot of times they say I want to look good in a bathing suit or, whatever. But I try to find out a little bit about their circumstance, like where they're coming from. And, if they have a lot of weight to lose and they have children, and I would say something like, well, how would it feel to be able to play with your kids from sun up to sundown? Because that's what happened with me and Ashley, a little bit more Ashley than me. After she had the kids, she was just exhausted throughout the day. And I was just like, when she was able to get back in shape and play with her kids all day long, that was worth $1 million. So depending on the circumstance, if it's a mom or something that gets tired really, so she's told me that, hey, I'm tired, I just can't stay up with my kids all the time, I try to bring out a story. It's like, well, how would it feel to be able to do that with your children all day long? I talk to people if I get a hint. Like people will tell you a lot. If they say, well, I'm financially, I'm in a bad financial situation, I'm like, well, and I can't go on vacations or I can't do this. I kind of do what you do. Like, how would it feel to be able to pay for a week's vacation, cash money, not on your credit card, not where you're paying it off for months down the road? How would it feel to be able to say, I got this money in this account that I can pay for X, Y, or Z, a vacation, a car, or whatever the case may be? So I try to get them to look a little bit further than just, the quick fix, the on the surface type why. But, that's a good one to start with. Like, hey, I want to feel good. I don't want to be a 38 waist. I want to be a 32 waist, or I don't want to be 250 pounds. I want to be 200 pounds, but that's fine. But once we start working on that, let's dig a little deeper to what you really want. And for us, we deal with a lot of couples with kids and being there for your kids. Like my story is my dad is 62 years old. He looks 90 because he smoked his entire life. He looks terrible. And it worries me every day. And I mean, like, he's had little strokes, little heart attacks. And I mean, if my phone rang right now, whether he's dead because of a heart attack or something, it wouldn't surprise me. It would devastate me, but I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? And I don't want my kids to have a 5 and a 7-year-old like my kids are, 5 and 7, and not be able to experience their grandfather if something were to happen. I want to be there for my kids' children until they're 20. I want to see a lot more things, and I'm just afraid that my dad's not going to be there for that. So I do that. Like, hey, I want to be here for my kids. I want to be able to babysit them from sun up to sundown. So my kids, Kaylee and Levi can go do things for the week. And my parents can't do that. My parents don't have that help that I can just push them to them for the whole weekend. So for me, I try to dig deeper to the health thing, being there for your kids and your grandkids, and financial freedoms, and how would it feel to be able to have $1,000 to go on that vacation, or $2,000? How would it feel to not go into more debt? So I try to do a little bit of what you were saying, but I try to find that little hint that they've given me in a conversation that I could really connect with. If it be financial, if it's parents, if it's health of kids, all those things. So I think that they'll tell you more. You just have to be ready to listen for it. You'd be like, oh, that's where I can, target in on. Hope that makes sense.
It's about just like finding a potential challenger. It's finding a need and then offering a way to fill it. And yeah, exactly. It can be moving past the weight loss or the healthy, if someone doesn't have any weight to lose, like, I wouldn't even know what to say to Ashley. Like, Ashley's fit. She's not, she's not 100 pounds overweight. You know what I mean? It's so that would not be a way to dig deep for her why, you know? Exactly. Hers is much bigger. It's longer. It's, you know, more long term. Yeah. With financial, with family. So yeah, you've got to find conversations with them. You know, I've been sending a ton more voice messages instead of typing responses, so that people can hear the inflection of my voice and they can hear what I'm saying. And I've said, hey, feel free to send me a voice message back in response. I would love to, or let's set up a phone call. I definitely love setting up phone calls with people. It's much more personable. I then have their phone number so that I don't have to worry, oh, are they going to be logged into Facebook that day? Because maybe people aren't as attached to Facebook as we are because of our businesses, you know? So bring it a little more personal, like a friendship, and then start asking more questions. Yeah. I agree with Andy. Definitely. Maybe even moving past the weight loss or the initial goals from the challenge pack itself, you know, moving past, you know, what the challenge pack means. Cause we all know now that it means so much more than just the 140 you paid for your month of Shakeology and your fitness program. It's so much more than that, you know, in the community. That's something neither of us even brought up yet, you know, like just the idea of the community and the fact that we all have each other's backs, you know, that we would do anything for one another. I mean, Brianne, Darla, and I were talking the other day, and Brianne and I said to Darla, because Darla had said, oh gosh, I wish I lived near you guys to do something. Because I told Brianne, you know, we live pretty close. I said, well, I would love to get together with you. And she's like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I would gladly host Darla anytime she wanted to come visit. You know what I mean? It's just that sort of community. And same with Brianne. There was no question. We were like, no, come see us. Ashley, Andy, same thing, you know? So it's the community that is also really great to back you up no matter what goes on in your life, that you have those friends and those family. Recently on Facebook, there have been a few people that have had someone I've been talking to is going through a nasty divorce. Her husband's just done. He just like out of nowhere was just like, I'm done. And she just feels like she has no fallout. She has no one to catch her as she's falling right now. She doesn't know what to do. She has no support. She's completely lost. They're going to therapy together, but it's obviously not going well because he's done. So as a small example, and she doesn't have this community, and that's what I want her to see and tell her, listen, I have a great like women's empowering challenge group happening right now. And I want to set up one that's women only, like, sorry, Andy, but you know, that way she feels safe if she's like, you know, whatever, but that way I can say like, it's a women empowering other women group. And, so that she can have at least that sense of community, so that, you know, she can see past the workout she doesn't want to do each day, you know, so that she can have that community. That was another huge thing for me, is I wanted, I love the sense of like family away from family, so to speak, you know, and so it's, finding it, you know, a need that someone really needs, and filling that. So to me, that's how I find a deeper why is that. And Valency, do you have any questions or any input yourself? What you feel like, anything you want to say? I'm letting her. There we go.
My brain's not too great tonight. I'm having a hard pain day.
That's okay.
But that sounds wonderful, and I'm definitely going to be rewatching the recording of this.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Is I just, you know, I talk to people and I read their posts on Facebook. Because believe it or not, people are like really vulnerable on Facebook sometimes. Like it's shocking. Like some things.
Getting novels in response to a one sentence question.
Yeah,
I get somebody's sometimes.
Even on their public profile, just posting a status, they're like, some of them are like bearing their souls, and I'm like, okay, like, but that's great. That gives me a chance to see them. That means they're open and raw because they want that. They're obviously looking for something if they want to do.
That's exactly why I try to be as open and raw and response as possible, publicly and in my messaging with people, so that they can see that I'm not power pushing gypsy tears, you know. I'm not selling posters. Yeah. I'm here to help people because that's my calling, and it has nothing. I mean, these are tools that we are offering people. It's not something we're forcing anyone into.
Yeah.
We just work. And of course, we're going to recommend the best thing that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it makes the whole interaction with all these. I used to be really hesitant to interact with strangers. And I've been reaching out to people who have a similar condition that I have, and just finding thousands and thousands of women just like me who have been through so much, and they're just, like you said, desperate, craving a community. And a lot of the times these chronic pain groups are not as uplifting as one would hope. And that's why I'm always happy to offer them, hey, look at this challenge group, the way that we work. And whether it's in challenge groups or in coaching groups, we are a positive community of people that are supporting and lifting each other up, and we don't quit on each other, and we don't let each other quit on ourselves. Yeah. Where do you find that?
Andy, how would you say that you run your groups? Because Danny and I have talked about, how I like our group is different than like Tony Stay, like how Tony runs his challenge groups, his accountability groups is different than maybe how I run them. And so how, being a fellow male, how do you run your groups? Out of curiosity, I think it all will kind of tie in the end to what we're talking about with relating to others. And how do you do it as a male with other males?
We're brutally honest with each other. We don't dance around. We use bad language a lot of times. I was having a bad day a couple of days ago, and I was like laying on the floor next to my bench, and I was looking at weights, and I text two of my friends, because I need it sometimes. I need help. I was like, man, I've been laying here for 20 minutes. And one dude was like, oh, man, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. The other one sent me a profane-laced message, and it got me up and going. So, it's good. Like, if I'm only in these guy groups, which I'm in a couple, we don't hurt each other's feelings. I don't know how else to say it. We're just honest with you. If we think you're being a sissy, we're going to call you a sissy, and that kind of thing. But with Ashley, when we do it together, she's the real nurturing one. And sometimes I'm a little more firm, but I don't say it like I would do it with a guy group, of my friends and stuff. So if it's new people, sometimes I'm like, suck it up, buttercup. It's time to get at it, and sometimes they need to hear that. But Ashley, she dances around and talks about how they'll feel, oh, you'll feel so wonderful afterwards. Just go do it. I'm like, just suck it up, do it. Maybe be done with it. So I think you kind of got to know, and I think this is where it goes back to, we're going to start having a Zoom call with our challengers before the group starts. And we're going to start taking notes, because you'll be able to tell in a 5-minute conversation with somebody if I can yell at them or be mean to them, or, not really, because I'm not mean or yelling, but you'll know how you have to talk to that particular person if they respond well to a little abruptness or they don't, because, Ashley doesn't respond well to somebody being abrupt to her and like telling her just to do it. She's, oh, with me, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. I need to. So I think
like, excuse me.
So I think you really got to get to know your challengers, and you can't treat all of them the same. And so I think it was in that that surge. Now I don't know what it was called. Not a surge. It was that group with Lindsay with like 26 days or 24 days, and somebody was talking about. So let's say we're all challengers of a group. We would get on the Zoom call. We'll just have a quick conversation, and so all the members will get to know each other on a Zoom call like this. And so instead of just seeing the words on the page, you're actually hearing the voice, like you were saying. I think that's so important. I'm so tired of typing stuff out, and the voice memo is great. The live video is great. Those kind of things. The Zoom calls are great. So I think getting to know your challengers more than, hey, they just, I don't know this person really well. I think you have to get to know them and know what you can do. And I think, while you do the group messages, I think it's important to contact them daily or every other day via voice memo or something, and to let them hear that voice. And I don't know if that's even answering your question or not, but it's hard to say that there's a universal way to run a challenge group. I think you just go in there and you learn your challengers and you see what works best for them, and you know, you don't let them off the hook. Don't let them. So when they quit talking, they quit responding, they quit typing, they quit doing whatever. You know the best way to get them back in the game. You know, so.
Yeah, I send my challengers messages privately as well, especially if like I have one, Natalie, who Valency knows. She hasn't posted the last couple weeks, and she had started posting a lot because she loved the groups. She loved the idea of the groups when she first started. And so I sent her messages. She actually didn't even read them. She normally responds right away. And this morning I sent her another one, like 3 in a row, gone unread. And I said, hey, is everything okay? And she said, well, actually, no, we had a sudden death in our family. I said, well, she said, I'm so sorry I've ignored you. I said, no, don't be sorry. I just knew something was up, you know, because I know her and she's been responding for weeks now right away. And she was super into wanting to become a coach this month. But I said, you know, I totally understand. She's like, no, I want to get back into things. I want to do a program that's going to challenge me more. So, you know, we moved forward. But yeah, I know each of my challengers. I know some of their strengths and weaknesses. And I start to do that with new challengers in hopes that they respond. I've had some challengers that go silent and they read my messages and never respond. I've tagged all my challengers and things. Valency has called people out in our group. But usually I start my challenge groups. I've started recently to do like a morning motivation post with like a motivational quote or something like that. That way I'm not just posting once a day a sweaty selfie or Shakeology. I have like a motivational post so that everyone, when they wake up in the morning, has something to look at, a thought to keep in mind. And then, you know, throughout the day, maybe food or whatever. But how I run, Danny has only been in my groups, for example. So I feel like he would get a different feel if he was in like one of Andy's groups. It's more like, you know, gather your scrotum and whatever. Let's not get specific here or swear, but, you know, gather your stuff and, you know, go do it. Make it happen at 5 a.m. I know Andy's like, oh dear God, I really hope the kids are not.
Did you just say scrotum right now?
I don't need to see yours. You don't need to see mine.
I will tell you this. I met a guy at the men's conference named Justin, and I met him, and we saw him at Summit. His wife is named Ashley as well. And we started talking. We just hit it off. You know, they're very similar to us. They have 2 kids. We have 2 kids, that kind of stuff. And he started doing something, he and his wife, and he said it's been the most remarkable, game-changing thing he's ever done with his challenge groups. Is every night he and his wife record a 3 to 5 minute video that his challengers see first thing in the morning. So it's not that little canned Instagram photo or whatever you grab. It's him and his wife covering a topic for 3 to 5 minutes. And they record it every single night, and they upload it and they get it on the page first thing in the morning. And he said that the people that watch that video, it's like every challenger watches it and responds to it. And I think it just goes to show you how sometimes we get lost with words and pictures, but if they see my face or your face or Danny's face or Valency's face first thing in the morning, you know, welcome in the day, you know, let's start the day out right. Let's talk about a struggle. I heard this struggle yesterday. Let's talk about it. And he said that's just been the most phenomenal game changer that he and his wife have done in his challenge group. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I had never thought of that ever.
I hadn't either.
But he's done it for about 2 months now. Every night they record just a quick 3 to 5 minute video of he and his wife, and it's bam on their page the next morning.
Nice.
I really like that. That is a good idea.
Yeah, Valency, I've done some recently of us working out so that they can see, like, you know, me max out. They saw, like, Valency noticed my poor form at one point during max 30, and you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like I've done that so that they can see that I don't just power through 30 minutes and then take a selfie and like, see, everything was great. Like, I'm pretty sure I maxed out every 25 seconds in that film. And I kept saying, like, I should really stop this video because this is setting a really bad precedent because I'm really not doing well right now. But I did it, and it's live and it's there, you know, but that's an even better, that's a great idea. Like record your thoughts of the day or a struggle you had or whatever. Yeah. Whatever it is that you want. That's a fabulous idea, Andy. I love that.
Like, for example, one of his challenges talked about, hey, I'm going out of town this week. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So what he was telling me that one of his challengers had a concern about I have to go out of town. How am I going to stay on target? Blah blah blah. Well, his video the next morning addressed that concern. So sometimes he has it. Yes. So
Nice.
for everyone to see. So if he sees a concern that pops up from a random post, he's like, all right, this is what I should talk about tomorrow. So that's just how we get some of his topics. And I'm sorry.
I love that. No, that's a great idea too. Bring up topics. I can talk about a concern that, Natalie has mentioned to me in a private message, or make it public, or anybody. I'm just using her as an example because I spoke with her today. But yeah, I get what you mean. Valency, what were you going to say?
Well, that actually reminded me of a second thing. First thing, people's attention span very short, so keep it under 3 minutes as much as possible. Otherwise, the amount of views goes down dramatically from everything I've experienced. But and I know my own attention span isn't very good. The other is that just, if you're talking about an issue that's been privately discussed, just check for permission to share it before.
Yeah.
Even
in general, like feeling, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, even sometimes addressing that specific topic, but removing the name from it could still feel like a violation of privacy to the person who spoke to you. So, just being mindful of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a fabulous idea though. In general, Valency, we should do that. We could alternate days too, if we're going to keep running groups together for a while,
Both do good.
Yeah.
Just people with beautiful faces.
That is fabulous. Well, Andy, thank you for sharing that. Well, I think we might run out of time soon. Plus, Andy, you've got your call in a little bit. So, but thank you guys.
We'll see you later, okay?
What?
I'm going to get on out of here. We'll talk to y'all later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for everyone who's watching the recording, we wish you could make it. Also, I would like to consider maybe changing our date to Thursdays for our team call if that works for other people. I know that worked for everyone in TWAB for a while because Amanda was hosting it on Thursdays, and Amanda's is not on Thursdays anymore. If no one knew that, it's now on Mondays, although she's now working. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But we could always do Thursdays if that works for everyone a little bit better. So let us know. And Andy has a good point, and we heard that at Summit. Run your own team calls when you have a call, even if it's just you talking to yourself. At least you have got a training so that when a new coach asks a question about it, say, hey, I've got this 30-minute video that I just discussed about it. Then it's you talking and not you just sending a link to Lindsay Matway, which, with the new Coach Basics training this month, I would like to start replacing some of their videos with some of my own, or incorporate a second video each day of my own as well, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel and redo all their videos. But, some of my own opinions or some of my own stuff having to do with a similar topic. But anyway, so yeah, at the end of this month, again, I'll say it, I think starting next week, I'm going to do a new Coach Basics training. Everyone is invited to have their coaches in it. I'll add you as well so that you can monitor them, check in with them, see where we're at in the training. And yeah, by the way, Valency, I'll talk to you in a second when I end the recording. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm going to stop the recording. Valency, stay on here for a second.